Can I just state, as I've stated in pretty much every single one of these videos ever, that there is no replacement for Lindsey Buckingham. The first line of this Rolling Stone article states, "The group parted ways with Buckingham in January and replaced him with Mike Campbell of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers and Neil Finn of Crowded House." Can publications, like, please start using the opening statement? In January, Fleetwood Mac made the decision to tour without Lindsey Buckingham. They made the additions of Neil Finn and Mike Campbell to their touring lineup. In January, Fleetwood Mac decided to tour without Lindsey Buckingham. They made the additions of Mike Campbell and Neil Finn to their touring lineup. So yes, I am back with another video about the ongoing Lindsey Buckingham drama with Fleetwood Mac. And if you have never seen them, my two most popular videos on this channel are the reaction video that I made when I found out that Lindsey Buckingham was no longer in Fleetwood Mac, and then a reaction video that I made when they released the tour dates without Lindsey. So this is a continuation of those videos. Those videos blew up in my terms. Like, obviously, you know, they didn't get hundreds of thousands of views, but they got a few thousand views, which is more than my videos normally get. So that was an exciting thing for me, and I'm not trying to just keep going off of that, but this is something that I genuinely care about, and I really wanted to make an update video considering there is now more news in this situation. This recaps it a little bit, but if you want the full story, go and research it yourself or watch my other two videos. I would say watch my other two videos, but I really feel as if they are not that informative. I feel like they're just me ranting, which may also be what's about to happen here. So on Tuesday, October 9th, 2018, Lindsey Buckingham filed a lawsuit against Fleetwood Mac in the Los Angeles Superior Court. He claims that he asked the band to postpone the tour until November of 2018 because he was working on his own solo tour and material. Now, this is a huge discrepancy from the story that was going around when I made the video reacting to the tour thing, because I don't know if this was bad reporting or what happened, but that it claimed that Stevie had said that he wanted to postpone touring until November of 2019, which is a huge difference. And I don't know what actually happened, but both of these articles were sourced from Rolling Stone, and him wanting to push it off 3 months and him wanting to push it off almost 2 years are a big difference. So he claims that there were plans to put a tour in place across North America with the classic 1975 lineup, and he's pitching it as if he was being completely cooperative with the rest of the band and wanted to do what was best for the band and was completely blindsided by being let go, which is pretty much the complete opposite of what the band has been saying. Discrepancies between the statement they made after they fired him and what he's saying are just... Number one thing that really concerns me is the 2018-2019 thing, because that's a big difference, and I would really, really love to know what actually happened there. According to the lawsuit, Live Nation had told them that each member would receive $12 to $14 million if they did a North American tour with X amount of dates. And according to Lindsey, he was let go without a good reason for being let go, and he feels as if he is still entitled to the $12 million deal that he was promised for doing this tour. Hey, where's my $12 million? There's a quote from Lindsey which absolutely makes my die-hard Fleetwood Mac fan heart and soul ache, because I am still so upset that I'm probably never gonna actually get to see them all together when they are all still alive and capable of touring, and that makes me so sad. And I've beat this point to death in every other video I've made on this and other videos that I've made about older bands or musicians, but so many people that I love, like Glenn Frey and Tom Petty, have died, and I never got to see them. And these 5 people, the 75 lineup, Stevie Nicks, Lindsey Buckingham, Christine McVie, John McVie, Mick Fleetwood, that is my favorite band. That is my favorite collective body of people in the music industry. And we haven't even lost any of them when they're all pushing 75. Like, they're arguing like they're still in their 20s and 30s, okay? This is not 1975. You are 75. It's like my dream of just seeing them all together once. It's not impossible, but it's also not gonna happen because they're not getting along. Anyways, I never actually said the quote from Lindsey, but the quote from Lindsey was, "After 43 years and the finish line is so clearly in sight, it's hard to escape the conclusion that for the 5 of us to splinter apart now would be the wrong thing." And I completely stand behind that quote. That absolutely makes my heart hurt that he said, you know, the finish line is so clearly in sight. Whether he means, you know, death is upon them, which it very well could be. These people did a lot of cocaine. Just them being capable of touring, which is also very possible something that could happen soon. That quote kind of breaks my heart and makes me feel for Lindsey, and I feel like he gets what I've been trying to say with that quote. In my previous videos on this topic, I've had people call me a crybaby and call me a fake fan and tell me I'm not old enough to know what I'm talking about, and I have had the fact that I was excited that the Fleetwood Mac tour with Campbell and Finn was coming to my city criticized into the ground. I mean, there were people far and wide who commented on my first update video to that original video and were like, what are you even talking about? You just sat here and cried about Buckingham not being with them, and now you're gonna be excited that they're coming to a place near you to perform without him. And no, I'm not okay with that, but I feel like if you've watched those videos and you've actually listened to me, the point I'm trying to get at is very transparent, but if it's not, let me explain it again. I love this band. I love these people. As I said just a few minutes ago, those 5 people together are my favorite band of all time, and I love music and I love bands, and though one of my dreams, my bucket list is to see all 5 of them together, but just because I love Lindsey doesn't mean that I don't still love the other members. And the only one that I've seen is Stevie. So considering all these things that I keep saying about I'm scared one of them is going to run into some kind of health issue that prevents them from being able to tour any longer, if I have the opportunity to see Stevie, Mick, Christine, and John together without Lindsey, I'm still gonna go because I want to see Christine, Stevie, Mick, and John. And, you know, would I 100% prefer to see them with Lindsey? Yes, of course. Do I think this is an ideal situation? No. I hate this situation. You have seen me say that. But I'm not going to lose the opportunity to see the other 3 and see Stevie again when, as he said, the finish line is in sight. Fleetwood Mac gave an update after he filed the lawsuit, which I'm going to read straight from the Rolling Stone article. It says the following: Fleetwood Mac strongly disputes the allegations presented in Mr. Buckingham's complaint and looks forward to their day in court. band has retained Dan Petrocelli to handle this case. Forgive me if I didn't pronounce his name correctly. Petrocelli, a Los Angeles attorney, had previously represented the Eagles, Don Henley, and Glenn Frey in their lawsuit against Don Felder, who was fired from the band in 2001. Which brings me to a very interesting point, and I'm very thankful for this information about Mr. Petrocelli, but also I feel like they kind of stole my thunder, because when I was planning this video, I was so excited to compare this situation to the Eagles and Don Felder situation. And what makes this even more exciting is I'm seeing Don Felder this Saturday night, and I have VIP meet and greet to meet Don Felder, which I have never had in my whole life. So while researching him, me and my mom were talking about it, and you know, I was made familiar with this case in which he got kicked out and he sued the Eagles because he felt like he didn't have the right to be kicked out. And so like I was so excited to parallel this, but that just makes it so much better that they got the same lawyer that the Eagles had. But what I would also like to point out is that the Eagles majorly lost that suit and ended up handing Don Felder $50 million. So that's not looking well for the band. In conclusion, it's hard for me to pick a side, and I don't plan on it. There's no love lost between me and Lindsey, or between me and the band, and in my heart, Lindsey is in the band. And, you know, I adore all of these people. I would not have the passion for music that I do if it weren't for the impact that these 5 individuals made on the music industry. But what I will say, my one point in all of this, and make what you will of me saying this, is that the band will always choose Stevie's side over Lindsey's side. And is this fair? I don't know. But in my opinion, it's the truth. I see the argument both ways. It's a common statement from all the band members that Lindsey was controlling over the band, especially when it came to artistic differences and opinions, and in the band's heyday, things always seemed to go Lindsey's way. Have they decided they're too old to deal with that? Maybe, and if so, good for them. And Lindsey has exhibited extreme behavior to the point of violence in the 70s and 80s. So maybe they should all be on Stevie's side, but it's a little bit weird when you look at it that Stevie went on her nearly a 1.5 year long 24 karat gold tour, and in the meantime, every member of the band put together the Buckingham McVie album except for her, which was supposed to be a Fleetwood Mac project, and they put it out under the name Buckingham McVie because they knew that the public would have a fit if they put out a Fleetwood Mac album without Stevie Nicks. But they did that to adapt to her tour schedule. So then Lindsey wants to delay the tour for 3 months because of his solo touring, and they kick him out. I don't know how that's okay. You're gonna, you know, you won't put out a Fleetwood Mac album without Stevie because she's going to tour for a 1.5 years, but you'll put out a Fleetwood Mac tour without Lindsey because he needs to finish touring for 3 months. That is the part that doesn't really sit right with me. But also, I can't sit here and say who I think is in the right because Lindsey is a wild card, as I stated before. He has had all these other situations, and I'm not saying that I 100% believe what Lindsey is saying because of his past background with being argumentative and being controlling and being the way that he is. And Stevie, you know, doesn't have that same background, so it makes sense as to why they might be on her side of this. So I don't know, and I don't know exactly what happened. I don't have the information from all of this. I don't think anyone really does. The reporting is a little bit, but this is my opinion from the information that I've been presented. You know, there are multiple sides to every story, and I myself, being such a fan of these people, I could write the argument from the band's side, or I could write the argument from Lindsey's side. But I guess that is just Fleetwood Mac for you.